Please note, the contents of this video depict details of rape and abuse, which some viewers may find upsetting. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Tim and Gemma from the Mental Health Hour back again with another mental health moment. And today we'll be talking about triggers, a very popular word in the mental health community. And we'll discuss what triggers are and how they affect us and what we can do when we recognize them. Right. So the word trigger has become a big part of the mental health community. So let's start by breaking down that word. Gemma.
Yeah, so in the mental health terms, a trigger is referring to something that affects your emotional state, often significantly to the point where you can't actually control yourself. It causes an extreme overwhelm or distress, affecting your ability to remain calm and in the present moment, and it can bring up significant thought patterns or massively influence your behavior. So different types of triggers can be things like anger, anxiety, feeling of overwhelmed, loneliness, vulnerable, out of control, pain, sadness, things like that. Okay. Right, so to give you a personal example of a trigger, quite a few years ago now, I was raped, and for a lot of people, myself included, that would bring up a lot of triggers, especially when it is something that would remind you of that incident that happened. So for even many, many years after the event, just to hear anything about any kind of sexual contact, to see something on the TV, hear it on the radio, anything at all, but specifically if I saw something on the TV that was of a scene that would depict rape or any kind of sexual contact, that would trigger me and remind me of that incident that happened to me, even if it wasn't necessarily that of a rape. The fact that it was sexual contact in general would bring me back to that moment where it would remind me of what happened, and my mind would automatically go to that place and that time where
A traumatic event.
where I would relive that situation and my mind would go over it all. And I found that sometimes, like, my mind would even go to the point of thinking extra things like, what if this had have happened? And it was adding extra bits in. But that is a significant part of a trigger, is that thing that started this thought process triggered that off. And it can be something that will cause a thought process and a trigger to, for me, it would cause extreme sadness or extreme anger and give me a complete out of body moment where for that time I wasn't there in the present moment, and it would take me back to that time and that place where I was being raped, and I would effectively relive that moment within my own mind. And the outcome of that trigger could be very different depending on what it was that caused that trigger, and depending on how visual it was. For example, like seeing something on the TV, it could cause something so bad to me, like a trigger, that at times it would result in me physically self-harming myself without even knowing. Like, I would be gripping onto myself and causing myself harm. So
This can happen with triggers, indeed.
Yeah.
Like your heart rate will rise, blood pressure,
Yeah, it did.
sweating,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you jump back into this traumatic event that happened, and you sometimes don't even realize it, it's all a part of PTSD as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, and it can be
In a later
anything. It doesn't have to be rape. It can be anything that's significant enough to cause you anxiety
Any
or
traumatic event, yes.
anything. Yeah, and it can make you relive that moment. Doesn't matter how long ago it was. So for me, we were talking even 10 years ago, like, and now I'm at a stage where I can talk about it, and it
Yeah.
doesn't cause me any significant problems. But it doesn't mean it doesn't cross my mind even now.
Sure.
But I've dealt with it enough to be able to share it. But it can be anything at all that will cause a trigger that for that moment causes you to relive that situation.
Yeah.
And it can
Find
be very,
yourself
very
back in it.
traumatic. Yeah, it can be
Exactly.
traumatic.
So now we know exactly what triggers are. And if you need some more information, we do have a mental health hour episode on triggers. I believe it was just myself doing this one. So it was way back in the early goings. But please feel free to check that episode out. We also go over exactly what to do when feeling triggered. So, how do you mitigate this? Stop, take a minute. You know you're feeling triggered. Is it worth going into this situation? Is there something you can do differently? Do you have to go into this situation at all? Can you remove yourself? Those kinds
Grounding.
of things. Grounding techniques. If it's not something that's avoidable, we can get through most things with just asking for help and saying, "Hey, so and so, I'm feeling really bad about this situation. May need a little help." Do your grounding techniques. Be mindful. Mitigate the situation. Get through, and we will continue on. And please check out episode 3 or 4 of the Mental Health Hour, where I talked a lot more in depth about triggers. And you can find everything on our socials. Gemma?
Yeah, so again, if you haven't already, check out the bio link, which is below. You will find the links to all of our past episodes on the YouTube. You will find everything that's related to the Mental Health Hour, the website, and definitely check out the Discord if you haven't joined it already. I highly recommend doing so, because not only is it a really friendly and supportive group of people to be around, which is building and growing every day, but there are lots and lots of help and supportive things in there, articles, different things that we share that will help you with this. And that is also a really good way to reach out to us if you need any help.
Absolutely.
Which, like mentioning it, obviously, because we've been talking about triggers, if you are finding that you yourself have been triggered by watching this, or you need any extra help, we're going to pop up the helpline numbers at the end of this video. If you find your number isn't on there, then you can either put a comment below, reach out to us on the bio link. You'll find all the information you need, or in the Discord.
Yeah, reach out to us and we'll get you in contact with the people that.
Definitely. And you can also send us a private message on Discord if you want it to remain anonymous. Plus, on the bio link, there is actually an anonymous way in which you can contact us, which is completely anonymous. We will have absolutely no way in knowing that that was you that sent that message. So that is just another way. If you want to do so, that is another way in which you can contact us. But for now, as always, thank you so much for watching, and catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.